Hey, so I wanted to do a little history lesson, I guess you could say, um, today. So about, yeah, a little under, I guess, 2 years ago, um, Cindy and I were still in gender therapy, and our therapist was hosting um, a transgender kind of just get together. And so we thought, uh, yeah, it would be a good thing to get to know some other transgender people. So we went, and it was a room full of trans women and me, and I didn't actually find it to be all that fun. But that group of women had their own Yahoo group, actually. And so I joined the Yahoo group. Shortly after we joined the Yahoo group, a guy came into the group saying he was starting a local transgender support group and that we were all welcome to go. And I thought I had it in my mind what support groups were, what they felt like, and what they looked like, and I was pretty certain that I didn't want anything to do with that. I'd fought against any suggestion that I should go to support groups anytime that I was in therapy, because I knew what a support group was about, and I just didn't want to be part of that. But when the transgender support group idea came up, I thought, well, both Cindy and I actually thought that, well, we've got our stuff together, we know what's going on, and at the very least we can be supportive even if we don't need support, which is kind of a ridiculous idea. Stuff always comes up in life that you need support. So we went to the first meeting, and it was, I think, like 4 or 5 trans guys and Cindy. She was the only trans female in the room. It was kind of funny. Everybody just got along really, really well. It wasn't so much a support group as it was just like a room of friends meeting and getting together. I think it was on a Monday or a Wednesday or something like that. I don't think I was working at the time when we first started going, so we had a lot of flexibility. But I started working, and we live an hour and a half away from Spokane, where the support group was meeting. So I did not have the ability to get to the meeting after work. It wasn't possible. So we weren't able to go, and I guess some of the other people had things going on in life where they weren't able to go, and so that group just kind of fizzled out. But not before we marched in Pride, the very first year that there was a transgender presence at Pride, and we actually won Best Newcomer at Pride. And we'd made a banner, and we hand painted it, and I sewed up the seams, and we just really put in a good effort. We wanted to have a booth, but we didn't have enough time or resources to make that happen, so that didn't happen. Shortly after Pride, I think, is when it probably about September-ish, is when that group just kind of fizzled out and just kind of stopped. Particularly because it was being held in a church where we were having to pay for every meeting. And so to pay for nobody to show up, no fun. So around that same time, the LGBT Center here in Spokane was becoming big. It was gaining a lot of ground. It was doing a lot of stuff. And so one day I was at the center helping out, doing a little bit of volunteer work, and I said, you should have some transgender stuff. Why isn't there any transgender stuff? And instead of being accusatory, I really should have asked, hey, is there any transgender stuff? Because there was. And I felt like an ass. And so it was kind of one of those put up or shut up kind of moments. I'd complained that there wasn't and that there should be, and so I I insisted that even though, again, I didn't really want to go, I didn't know anybody that was going, I was a little anxious about, what's the layout going to be? Are they going to be accepting of non-binary people such as myself? How's this all going to go? Who's going to be there? All those just general anxiety kind of issues. Said, no, I just got to shove that aside and I got to go. So Cindy and I went, and it was a pretty small group, and it was being led by a cisgendered gay man. And I was kind of shocked by that. Honestly, I was like, really? But he had two transgender roommates, so it was it was an issue that was close for him, and he, I don't know his whole reasoning. It's not really important, but he was doing it, and that's awesome that he stepped up and that he started it and that he created space at the center. Well, he had some plans for his life and his summer. Again, that group started in spring, started in about April. And we met every other, twice a month. I think it was like first and third Saturday of every month, something like that. And he had some plans for his summer after Pride. And so, again, we marched in Pride, and it was great. I brought the banner from our original group, and I started talking to him like, hey, what's going to happen to the group when you go traveling? And he was like, well, I don't know. I was like, well, why don't we vote somebody in then? Be democratic. And so we did. At the next meeting, we voted somebody in, and that somebody was me. And so I became communications coordinator, and I think to me, it's really, really funny that I didn't even want to go. At first, that I thought that I knew what support groups were, which I didn't. I was totally wrong. And then I ended up being communications coordinator, being in charge, running the Facebook group. I started creating flyers so that we could get more interest and get, more people. There were some meetings that were just Cindy and I early on. Cindy and myself and our board member Matt, who would let us in and make sure we were not trashing the place, whatever. And it grew from there. It just grew and grew and grew, and we never missed a meeting. We always made sure, I don't know if you can hear that, but the door's open and the chickens are running around the backyard. Anyway, so that all leads up to the Rainbow Awards. We won! Our support group won Best Group for 2012, and so we won the Rainbow Awards in all of LGBT organizations here locally. We were voted winners. We won. And, to me, that flies in the face of all the people that look at the national stage and say that transgender people have no business or place with the LGB, that they're not respected, that they're not cared about. I say to you, go get involved. Put a face on transgender. Instead of just being this label that's just out there, nobody actually knows a transgender person. Be that person. Be that face. Because once they know you, once it's not just transgender people, it's Seven and Cindy and some of the other people that are in our group that have branched out and volunteered and shown up and been present and had a voice in our community. I've started to see a change here locally. I've started to see more respect. People have started posting links to different transgender-related articles, have started having conversations. We're important here locally. And I really feel that we're important because we stepped up. And we said, we're part of this community too. Here I am. And instead of complaining and saying, we're not wanted, we're not welcome, blah, blah, blah. No, I am welcome. I am cared about. I have friends in the LGBT community, and that's because I made it important for me to be part of the community, instead of just pretending like there was a community or hating that there wasn't. We're important, and we're not just tolerated here locally, we're accepted. That's pretty awesome. So, Pride's tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some videos. Bye. See ya.